Hello and welcome to the class today. In the subject secondary or secondary education, we are going to talk about educational measurement and evaluation today. As we all know that evaluation is actually a very wide and broad concept, and through which we are able to know that what kind of objectives we have achieved, what achievements have been gained by the students. So the learning objectives for today's class are to analyze the role of evaluation and all its aspect in teaching learning process, to understand the concept, types, purpose, principles of evaluation. Also, it will be enabled to design a good evaluation program and utilize evaluation meaningfully. So, evaluation has been defined by various educationists in different ways. So, there are certain terms which are used for evaluation, and we will start with the first term, that is test. What is test? So if we talk about the word test, it means to judge the knowledge, understanding, and intelligence of the students, and that also in the classroom situation. So test can be conducted after completing the chapter, after completing any concept. So a teacher can take a test of his students to know about their grasping power, and it can be in the form of informal type, or it can be teacher made test, or there could be formal tests like standardized test. Then the other term which is also a part of evaluation is measurement. Measurement is a limited term because it has a shorter area and it has some limited behavioral dimensions for the learners. So in measurement, we generally measure only the quantitative ability of the learner. So these are the literal meaning of the terms which are a part of the concept evaluation. Then comes the term assessment. So what is assessment? It is the systematic process of documenting and using empirical data to measure knowledge, skills, attitudes, beliefs, so that a teacher can improve, can ask the student to judge their weaknesses and strengths, and on the basis of that, make a progress in their various areas. Then let's come to the term now evaluation. So it is a much broader term than test. It includes all kind of tests, all kind of examinations in it. The purpose is not only to check the knowledge of learner, but all the aspects of the learner, which we are going to discuss further in this class. For example, if there is a sentence, you are gifted a flower, then how evaluation will be done and how assessment will be done. So on the basis of that, we will be able to decide the meanings of these terms. So if the evaluation is done, it will be done in this way. The flower is purple and is too short with not enough leaves. So that means it is judgmental. The exact decision is given. The value judgment is given. And if assessment is going to be done for this flower, then there may be, I will give the flower some water to improve its growth. So that means assessment works for the quality time, works to increases the quality. So this is how evaluation is generally decided, what kind of evaluation is to be done on the basis of the formulation of instructional objectives or the learning experiences or what kind of instruction have been provided. So it has a very central role in deciding what the learners learn and what the teachers teach. So it is an overwhelming influence on our system of education. The NCA for School Education 2000 observes teaching for successful learning cannot occur without high quality evaluation. So the quality of any educational system is thus directly linked with the quality of evaluation. So this is very important, that the quality of evaluation should also be equal to the quality of teaching learning. So if we talk about the present scenario, the evaluation which is being done at different stages of schooling in the country does not present a very bright picture, as it suffers from number of imperfections. One of the reason we can quote is that evaluation is the concept is not very well uh, understood by the school teachers. They are not aware of the concept and what is involved in the process of evaluation and how to utilize results fruitfully. They are only following the traditional pattern of evaluation or understand the traditional concept of evaluation, only the passing of the examination. So this is what is there in the minds of teachers as well as students and their parents also. So this unawareness of some teachers has led them to test their students in a haphazard manner in both internal or external examinations. Actually, they are not aware how to evaluate their students, how to judge that what is wrong, what is right, and how to motivate the students to remove their weaknesses and strengthen their strong parts. So the situation requires that the teachers must be well trained in all the aspects of evaluation so that quality of education can be improved. Sometimes the word evaluation is often confused with the words testing, measurement, assessment. So many a time teachers who give a test to the students think that they are evaluating the achievement of the students. But no, they are only testing and sometimes they are only assessing. So testing is only a technique to collect evidence regarding pupil behavior, and whereas if we talk about measurement, so it is limited to only quantitative description of the pupil behavior. And if we talk about evaluation, it is a more comprehensive term which includes testing and measurement and also qualitative description of the pupil behavior. So it also includes value judgment regarding the worth or the desirability of the behavior which has been measured or assessed. So therefore, Gronlund in 1981 has indicated this relationship in the following equation, that evaluation is equal to quantitative description of pupils, which is the measurement, plus the value judgment. And if we talk about the qualitative description of pupils, which is not the part of measurement, this is also judged with the help of value judgment. So this is how evaluation consists of all quantitative and qualitative description of pupils. So it may not be based on measurement alone, but it goes beyond simple quantitative score. So for example, if we say if a child gets 60 marks in an English language test, it alone does not tell us whether his or her achievement is satisfactory or not. So it is only when we compare this mark of 60% with the marks obtained by other children in the class, or with the certain criteria which have been earlier set up by the teachers, or with the child's own marks which they have received in the previous test. So we are able to judge or evaluate whether his or her achievement in the particular test is satisfactory or not. So on the basis of that, students' achievement may be viewed at three different levels. The first level is self-referenced. This shows how the student is progressing with reference to himself and herself. So it is related to self-reference and self-evaluation. So he has to compare, or the teacher needs to compare the work which has been done earlier and the work done presently. Then the next level is criterion referenced. So on the basis of this, it is just that how the student is progressing with the reference to the criteria which has been set by the teacher. So few tests can be based on criterion reference test. Then there is norm reference level, which says that there are certain norms on the basis of which it is seen how the student is progressing with reference to his or her peer group. So in comparing while comparing the marks with the other students in the class, then this kind of evaluation will be norm referenced. So these are the three levels on which various keeping in mind the teachers make such tests or perform such tests, so that on the basis of these levels they know what they are judging and how they are going to assess their students. So there are certain definitions of educational evaluation. According to Hanna, the process of gathering and interpreting evidence changes in the behavior of all students as they progress through school is called evaluation. So evaluation involves the process of gathering of data, then interpreting whatever has been gathered, then judging the behavior of the students as they progress through the various activities in the school. So this is called evaluation. Muffat says evaluation is a continuous process and is concerned with that the formal academic achievement of pupils. So it is interpreted in the development of the individual in terms of desirable behavioral change, relation of his feeling, thinking, and actions. So Muffat, on the other hand, says that it is a continuous process and it is concerned with the formal academic achievement of pupils. So at the end of the session, when the pupil need to be promoted, whether he or she is able to do that or not. So in that process, evaluation is done. So if in the form of individual terms it is done, then it brings behavioral changes in relation to his feeling, thinking, and actions. Whereas C.V. Good define evaluation is a process of judging the value or something by certain appraisal. So there should be some level on the basis of which evaluation is done, or the values on the basis of which judgment is done. So thus we can see evaluation is a systematic process of collecting evidence about students and their achievement in both cognitive areas and non-cognitive areas of learning. So on that basis, judgments are formed and decisions are made. So basically, three components we can figure out from this, which are very important part of evaluation, that is information gathering, information processing, the interpreting, and the judgment forming and decision making. So these are processes and components when are included, then a proper and suitable evaluation is done. So evaluation is not always at the end of a course. We not only want to know whether a student has developed a certain ability stated in the educational objectives or not, but we also need to know about the progress during the course of teaching and learning. So on the basis of that, various kinds of assessment is done throughout. So thus it is a continuous process. Now we will take a look at the various characteristics of educational evaluation. And the first one is the one which I have discussed earlier, continuous process. Yes, evaluation is a continuous process. We cannot say that it will be done only at the end of the session. It will be done throughout the session, throughout the semester, or throughout the year. So throughout the year, the teaching learning process is evaluated by the various terms which are a part of evaluation. It is comprehensive because it includes everything that can be evaluated. So evaluation is a wider concept and it does not evaluate only a certain dimension. It has multi-dimensions. It evaluates multi-dimensions of an individual. It is child-centered. Yes, evaluation is a child-centered process and it gives importance to the learning process and not to the teaching process particularly. So here we need to know that what the student has achieved, what the student has learned, what the student is able to do in future. So this is how we judge the learning part of the student. Then it is remedial. So evaluation comments on the result which helps in remedial work. It is not a remedy. Evaluation is remedial in nature. So after diagnosing any kind of problems or any issues, then the teacher needs to provide some remedy to that. So that will only be done with the help of proper evaluation. So on the basis of that only, a teacher will be able to know that what kind of remedy to be given to the students in particular concepts. It is a cooperative process. How? Because it not only involves students, it involves teachers, parents of the students, and their peer groups. So these all particularly cooperate with each other, and this is how evaluation can be done. So on the basis of evaluation, if a teacher sometimes asks the cooperation from parents, this has to be done. Otherwise, a teacher alone cannot bring changes or bring certain do away with the weaknesses of the students. So sometimes there is a need for the parents to support. Sometimes peers are needed to give support. So it is a cooperative process. Then in the area of teaching methods, it particularly gives the idea to the teacher that whether the teaching method which is being adopted by them is effective or not. It is a common practice. Evaluation actually is a common practice and which goes on with the teaching learning process. So it is among proper growth of the child, whether they are growing mentally or physically. It has multiple aspects because it is concerned with the total personality of students. As we all know that education aims at bringing changes in all dimensions and all areas of students. So this is how the evaluation will also be done in the all areas and total personality, total all dimensions of the students, whether it is emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, any dimension. So let us now discuss what is the purpose or the importance of evaluation, why it is done. Evaluation serves a number of purposes in education, and some of the well-known purposes are to grade, to give rank, or to classify, comparison, and to promote the students for the next class. So it can also be used for certifying the completion of a course, selection of students for admission or scholarship, and for predicting their future success in different endeavors. So these all are the areas for which evaluation is carried out. So these are the purposes of end of the term evaluation actually. But the basic purpose of evaluation in school has been to bring about quality improvement in education, which is done by providing feedback regarding every area, every aspect like learning part of the student, whatever is being learned in the classroom teaching, whether the curriculum is appropriate, where the course content is appropriate. It also helps bring about all-round development of the student's personality when it is used for developing their non-cognitive capacities also. So first of all, we will learn the purpose of evaluation under the heading improvement of learning. So basically, evaluation of pupil progress contributes directly to improvement in pupil learning. This can be done in a number of ways. Evaluation procedures used help clarify for the pupil what it is that the teacher wishes him or her to learn. So now they know that on the basis of what objectives or what points we are going to be observed or we are going to be evaluated. So it makes everything clear before the students. Feedback from evaluation provides him or her with concrete information about his or her progress. So they are able to judge whether they are progressing, whether they need corrections or they need to remove some weaknesses from certain areas. So this is very important and this can be learned only by doing proper evaluation. It also indicates his or her readiness for future learning activities. If their earlier concepts are not clear, if their earlier ideas are not clear, they will not be able to be ready for the future learning activities. So that means that if a proper evaluation is done, then they will be able to judge that they are ready for the future concepts or the related concepts, the next steps they have to take. So through this continuous evaluation, the teacher knows the extent of learning at every stage. So it helps teachers also that what kind of strategies, what kind of teaching methods, what should they do to improve the classroom teaching. So if there are any hard spots or gaps of learning, appropriate remedies can be given. For students who are slow learners, who show slow progress, some enrichment measures can be taken. Thus, evaluation helps in improving learning through diagnosis and remediation. It enables the teacher to keep a continuous and regular watch on pupil development. It is only evaluation of learning which motivates the students to learn. If there is no evaluation in the classroom, perhaps the students would not study at all because they will not have any judgment regarding their performance. So evaluation also promotes a healthy competitive spirit in children and stimulates them to show their excellence. Yes, this is also necessary because on the basis of that, they will be able to do healthy competition among themselves, among the classroom, among the other with other students, among the peer groups, and that will bring changes. And maybe this will be a for good, for their good. Besides, there are other uses of evaluation results which have relevance for parents also. They also know how well their wards are doing. So through the results, the parents can know the weak and strong points related to the learning of their children. And on the basis of that, they will be able to bring changes in the learning part, or they will be able to teach the certain areas in which they are lacking. So if the evaluation in school is being done in a comprehensive manner, the teacher can also report on the overall personality growth of the child to the parent. Like after every exams or unit tests, formative evaluations, parents teachers meetings are conducted in the schools. So there, if the teacher knows that they have conducted a very good evaluation of the students on the basis of whether it is quantitative or qualitative, so on the basis of that, they will be able to share the weaknesses or the strengths with their parents also. So this will help in the growth of their personality. So this will develop a better cooperation between the teacher and parents for the progress of the child. And this is very necessary because, as we have discussed, that it is a cooperative process. So parents can also take remedial measures in case of any particular deficiency they have been reported or they are able to find out. Then the next purpose is the improvement in teaching. So along with learning, it brings improvement in teaching. How? Evaluation can also promote the accountability of the teachers. They have to be accountable for whatever they teach in the class. The results of the children can tell whether the poor performance of the students is due to poor teaching, poor classroom environment, defective methodology, or due to absenteeism of teachers or callousness in teaching. So whatever is the reason, it will be reflected to the teacher, and he or she will be able to improve in certain areas. So thus evaluation can work as an important instrument for improvement in teaching. Professional development of the teachers is almost directly related to the feedback which is given through evaluation. A teacher earns a reputation on the basis of the result shown by the pupils whom they have taught. If the students do not show the learning outcomes, the desirable learning outcomes, then the teacher may have to think of changing the strategies which are not appropriate for teaching. They will be able to change their roles, improve the instructional material, update their knowledge, go for certain professional courses in service training programs, do some refresher courses, explore new approaches which are available. So these steps will automatically help his or her professional development. So this is how we can say that it is evaluation is also important for teachers' professional development. Then the next purpose is the renewal of curriculum or course content. So this is very important part. So evaluation also gives information regarding the effectiveness of the course content. There may be certain curricular areas which may prove to be difficult for the students, as their maturity level is not developed enough to cope up with them. So this fact can be identified through evaluation and its feedback. If it is found out consistently by the feedback of the evaluation of different pupils that a particular curricular area is not suitable for them, so it may be modified. So teachers will be able to know that if there is any defect while transacting the curriculum, or there is any defect in the course content, it can be modified. So such information is useful in judging the appropriateness of the predetermined objectives of the course as well. Hence, evaluation can provide a basis for curriculum revision also. Then the next purpose is development of non-cognitive capacities. So in today's world, the development of only intellectual powers is not enough. So there should be other non-cognitive capacities which need to be developed in the students, like social intelligence, emotional intelligence, or any physical aspects of personality. So they are also vital for the development of mental intelligence. So the prime concern of education is to bring about all-round development in the student, in their personality, which can be done by developing non-cognitive capacities of students along with the cognitive capacities. So this can be ensured only when a school takes up the system of evaluating these aspects of children's personality. So the comprehensive evaluation takes into consideration the learning outcomes of both the scholastic and non-scholastic domains of personality. So the areas included in the non-scholastic domain are the social personal qualities, interest, attitudes, values, physical growth of the students. They need to be developed and evaluated consciously in the present day context. The evaluation of non-scholastic areas in the Indian condition, as have been observed by Mr. Agarwal, not only brings to light the hidden qualities in children, but also prepares them for the future. There are certain traits, qualities, attitudes, and values which are needed by an individual for success in life. So they have to be an well-groomed personality. For example, the qualities of regularity, punctuality, discipline, to take initiative, creativity, cooperation, to work hard. It brings values in professional life. So qualities of respect for others, truthfulness, emotional stability, they are also required for happy, stable life, happy personal life. So another reason why it is important for teachers to know about the students' attitudes, etc., is that this knowledge can be used to remove their learning difficulties, why they are hesitating to learn, and enhance their academic achievement. If a teacher knows Sachin, like sports, but teacher knows that, she might have him read sports magazines in order to help improve his reading. Thus, teachers can capitalize on the interest and attitudes of their pupils. And the next purpose is to clarify the objectives of education. And another importance to clarify the objectives of education. The objective of education is to bring change in learners' behavior. So by evaluation, a teacher can bring change to learners' behavior. It also provides guidance. If a teacher has the proper knowledge and about his learners only, then only he will be able to guide him. So, and guidance can only be given after proper evaluation, which involves all dimensions, abilities, aptitude, interest, or intelligence. It is also helpful in classification. So evaluation is a source by which a teacher knows the various levels of his students as intelligence, ability, and interest. On this basis, he can classify his students and provide them guidance. So these were all the purpose for which evaluation is done. Now we will discuss about the basic principles based on which educational evaluation is done. So the first principle is the principle of continuity. This we have discussed that it is a continuous process, and it goes on continuously as long as the student is related to education. So it is an important part of the teaching learning process. So whatever the learner learn, it should be evaluated daily. It is a continuous process. So only then the learner could have better command of the language or other things. The principle of comprehensiveness, this we have discussed that it does not assess only the few aspects of learner's personality, but it is concerned with the all-round development of the child. Then there is the principle of objectives. So evaluation should be based on the objectives of education. It should be helpful in finding out that where there is need of redesigning and refraining the learner's behavior. Then there is the principle of learning experience. So we don't evaluate only the curricular activities of the learner, but his co-curricular activities are also evaluated. So both types of activities are helpful in increasing learning experiences. The principle of broadness, as it is broad enough to cover all the aspects of life. Then there is a principle of child-centeredness, because child is the center of the evaluation, and the behavior of the child is the central point for assessment. So it helps a teacher to know the grasping power of a child and usefulness of the teaching learning material. Then the principle of application. So during the teaching and learning process, the child may learn many things, but it may not be useful in his daily life. So he can't apply it, then he will find it useless. So it can be known through evaluation that whatever he is learning in the class can be applied in his real life also. So it judges that student is better to apply his knowledge and understanding in different situations in order to succeed in life. Now we will discuss the types of evaluation. So there are basically three types of evaluation which are used in the classroom. These are summative evaluation, formative evaluation, and diagnostic evaluation. So summative evaluation is a very common type of evaluation. It is generally done at the end of the term or the course or the program of teaching. And it is a formal testing of pupils' achievement. It can be done in the form of annual exams or half-yearly exams. And the purpose of this kind is basically to grade, rank, compare, classify, and promote the pupils. So it can be also for the purpose of certification and selecting for the students for scholarships or admissions to particular courses, so that the students know that whether they will be able to pursue certain courses or not. Then there is formative evaluation, which is inbuilt, which is not done at the end, but it is inbuilt in the process of teaching and learning. So it is done during the course of instruction with the view to improve students' learning. So the purpose of this evaluation is to provide feedback regarding the students' progress by finding out the learning gaps and the weak points. So on the basis of that, the teachers can organize for the remedial programs. It can also provide clues to the effectiveness of the course content and teaching materials. So for example, after teaching and testing a unit, the teachers can evaluate whether the content taught was appropriate for that level, whether the textbook has prepared the content appropriately in appropriate manner, whether the students could understand easily. So the main purpose of formative evaluation is improvement in learning, and it goes on throughout the course period. So unlike summative evaluation, which is formal in nature, formative evaluation is informal. And it can be taken by using multiple techniques like observation, oral test, written test, etc. So it can be done in any informal manner. Then the third type is diagnostic evaluation, and it is closely related to the formative than the summative evaluation. So in fact, it is to be carried out along with formative evaluation in the class. So how? The main purpose of this evaluation is to find out the underlying cause of weaknesses in a student's learning. But it is also needed even prior to instruction in order to place the student properly by looking at the higher level of achievement. So thus, diagnostic evaluation provides a starting point to carry out the instruction. So it is very important for classroom teaching for a number of reasons. Firstly, through it, a teacher can know the entry behavior of the students, whether what kind of knowledge already the students have. Secondly, it helps in knowing the level to which the students already have learned a particular unit. So in case they want to know, the teachers want to know that what they have achieved and what they have not, so it will be able to diagnose the problems. Thirdly, it helps the teacher classify students according to their level of mastery. And this in turn will help him or her to work out a remedial instruction program for the low achievers and the slow learners. So this is the very important aspect of diagnostic kind of evaluation. So there may be physical, emotional, or social reasons working as obstacle to learning. So through diagnosis, the symptoms of the learning disorders can be found out. And this is how, through all kinds of evaluation, quality in the improvement of teaching learning process can be brought in the classrooms. So these are the few references which you can go through for finding more about the educational measurement and evaluation. You can take a look at various online books which have been available on the internet, or you can go through the eGyanKosh website for learning more about the evaluation part. Now we will go to the evaluation questions which are based on today's class. So the question number 1 is, in measurement, the first step is, what is the first step? Options are marking of the test, administering the test, development of the test, decision of what to measure. The correct answer is decision of what to measure. Because firstly, the teacher needs to decide that what has to be measured and how to measure. So then only they will be able to conduct this kind of evaluation in the form of measurement. Question number 2 is, which type of evaluation is used to monitor the learning process? The options are summative evaluation, diagnostic evaluation, formative evaluation, or placement evaluation. So whenever evaluation is to be done to monitor the learning process, the correct answer is the formative evaluation, because it is the inbuilt process which goes on with the teaching learning process. It is done informally and it can be done in between the sessions. Then the next question is, which has the least scope? The options are assessment, evaluation, measurement, or test. So as we have seen during the discussing the different terms, that the test has the least scope, because it can only be done after a class or after a week. So it only shows certain aspects, certain areas which the students have learned. So it has the least scope of evaluation. So it is the starting point. This is one of the part. Next question is, from the following, find out the right sequence. So what is done first, then after that what is done, and after that what next step to be followed, and how evaluation is then achieved. So the options are test, measurement, assessment, evaluation. Whether evaluation, test, measurement, or assessment, whether test, assessment, evaluation, measurement, assessment, measurement, evaluation, test. So here the correct answer is test, measurement, assessment, and evaluation. So this is the right sequence which needs to be followed. The next question is, from the following, in which question marking will be more reliable? So the options are multiple choice questions, essay type questions, short answer questions, or completion type questions. So this we all know that the MCQs are the most reliable kind of questions in which marking will be more reliable. Next question is, summative evaluation is basically used. The options are during the program, at all times, at the end of the program, at the start of the program. So the correct answer is at the end of the program, because it is done after the program is ended, or then there is other kind of evaluation which is the formative one, which is done during the course. The next question is, from the following, which one is not the type of test by purpose? So the options are norm reference test, criterion reference test, essay type test, or standardized test. And the correct answer is essay type test, because we have seen that other three options are the levels which have to be divided, what kind of type of test, on which purpose we are conducting these tests. Next question is, dash evaluation helps the teacher classify students according to their level of mastery, and that will help him or her to work out a remedial instruction. The options are summative, formative, diagnostic, or remedial. The correct answer is diagnostic. So it is done when the teacher needs to find out that what kind of problems the students are facing and what kind of remedial instructions can be given. Question number 9 is, the basic purpose of evaluation in school has been to bring about dash improvement in education. The options are quantity, change, quality, or negative. So the correct answer is quality. So the basic purpose is to bring quality improvement in education. Question number 10 is, the principle of comprehensiveness of educational evaluation means, and the options are to assess all aspects of the learner's personality, to analyze only one aspect, to enhance knowledge, to achieve multiple benefits. And the correct answer is to assess all aspects of the learner's personality. So it means that only one dimension is not tested, all aspects of the learner's personality are tested. So with this, we come to the end of the topic today. Thank you very much.